Hi, welcome to the 3.2 feature preview for the upcoming expansion to Hegemony 3 Clash of the Ancients. I'm lead developer Rob McConnell, and let's get started. So first off, I'm going to zoom out here a little bit and give you guys some context to where we're playing, since we're jumping into an existing game right now. So we're down here in the southern Greek portion of Italy. So I'm playing as Locris, the purple tribe here. And you can see Croton, the orange one here. So one of the first changes you'll see, and we've talked a little bit about this on the forums for people who've been following the development, is the new territory feature. So the purple areas, it's an extension of the previous resupply system. So the purple areas show the areas I control around my cities and forts, and the orange areas control where the Croton faction nearby controls. Now one of the differences with the territories is that they're now exclusive, so only one faction and one territory can exist in a particular part of the map. So if you go up to the borderlands here, you can see the how my territory is adjacent to the Brutii one there. And then within my territory, one of the differences from the resupply zones is territories now merge together automatically to make continuous larger territories of multiple cities and resource buildings. So you see a mouse over here, the Terrania territory. It's named after the largest city in it. If I click it, it brings open the new territory dialog, and this is a detailed breakdown of all the resource transactions that are going on inside and between this territory. So the summary page, you'll get a quick list of all the buildings that are inside this one, so a couple cities and farms, bridges. The supply, the food tab here, shows the breakdown of everything that's consuming and producing food, similar with wood and gold. These are kind of similar to the old trade tab in the existing version of the game. So the breakdown here gives you the total food. So that's because territories share all of their food. Everything that's in connected is automatically transfers food. So you get the net storage and current supply, total production for all the farms. Consumption of the population, the garrison, and field units. Garrisons are units that are stationed inside cities, whereas the field units are ones that are out in the field. And they automatically pull from that supply zone, from the territory, like they did in the previous versions. And we also have buildings that produce food, so like fishery upgrades, and the net trade between other territories. So you see we still do have the supply lines here on the map, and those are used to transfer food between territories. So each of these little farms that are out on their own have their own little one square territories, you can see in the one circle there. And the lines connect the multiple territories. So if I switch over to the food tab, so you can see the colors changed from what faction was controlling it now to the level of resources in them. So the green ones are a net producer of resources. Yellow ones are more neutral, and ones like this, the orange or red ones, are low on supplies and are pulling it from other territories. So you can see the flow of the resources between the different territories. So these farms are funneling it into here, these territories are transferring to each other, etc. And you can see that for wood or gold as well. So the other big change, and we've got the territories, is the new trade tab. So we're going to zoom in here on Polizzi, which is a city recently taken. So it's a native Rhegian city, so they're not very happy with me because we're at war right now, so which is the city has low morale. So I'm going to move these troops here, my Hoplites, back into the city to provide a garrison. See on the tactical map you can see the territories when I have a unit selected to move, so you can see where they can resupply. So we're going to move them back in. While I've got that, we're going to open up the new trade tab. So you can see this has changed quite a bit in the game. Previously it was the list of trade transactions, which is now moved into the territories. So instead we have a breakdown of specific types of consumption and production. So in the food tab, that's the civilian production. So they're consuming 16 units. The garrison, the upgrades, and the trade. And the net is the net change in the city's stockpile. So given all of the trade and consumption, the city's losing 22 a week out of the only 4 it has. And similar for wood. So the wood shows the construction and upgrades and buildings unit construction, so forth, things that consume wood. But the big change is the new resource controls over here. So one of the changes we wanted to do in 3.2 was to give you guys a little more control over how resources are produced and give you ways to fix resource problems within your empire. So you can now set, the first one is your tax rate, so it's how much gold the city produces. The second one is your civilian food consumption, so it's how much food the population consumes. The more food you give out to the population, the faster the city grows. The less you give it, the slower it grows and the less happy they are. And the last one is the recruitment, so how many recruits the city produces. And those, of course, are used to build units. So right now, we have 0 tax rate, so it's not producing any gold, and 0 recruitment. So we can adjust that because city has only, say, like 1 recruit right now. So we're going to bump that up a little bit. Now, as I'm sliding this up, you can see recruitment at 35% or 1 per week. But the important part also is that it says morale minus 35. So your morale here in the top is basically your currency for how many resources you can extract from the city. So the happier the city is to your rule, or at least the more you're enforcing the morale via garrison or other upgrades, the more you'll be able to extract in taxes, food rationing, or recruitment. So if I mouse over that, you can see, because it's a hostile, natively hostile city to me, I get 0 base morale. The garrison, those troops, the hoplites I moved into there, are giving me 100 to work with. And the recruitment rate that I've bumped up is taking minus 35 off of that. So say we want to raise a few little taxes. And the food consumption, right now I'm giving them full food, which is minus 16 units a week. If I take that down, say I'm approaching winter and I need to save up food for the season, I can cut back the food I'm supplying to the city to save it. But that's going to start lowering the morale of the city. Now your counter to lowering the morale, 'cause the reason you don't leave it as low as possible, is the new rebellion level. So right now this city, because it's been hostile to me, has a very high rebellion. 100 is the maximum. The rebellion grows as the morale is lower. So you can see those little arrows. So 3 arrows, because my maximum morale is only 10, is growing really quickly. If I adjust the sliders, you can actually get it down so the arrow is decreasing. So if the morale is 100 or greater, then your rebellion level can actually decrease. So rebellion level is a bit of a delayed reaction to your setting of resource controls. So if in the short term you need cash, you can boost your tax rate, and that will start to build your rebellion level over time. So it may solve your immediate cash problems. You'll have to pay attention to the rebellion in the long term. And we will see what that has effect shortly. So with a maximum rebellion in the city, it's quite likely the city will generate rebels quite soon, which are the new replacement for the raider system, which we've also been talking about. So while that city is, I'll leave that a little less than happy here for a second, and we'll do a few other administrative things. One other feature I'll show you quickly is over in Terrainy here, I have a new unit. So there we go. Some of you guys might remember from the original Philip Mastodon game, there was the companion cavalry and the hypaspists. So we've reintroduced a new objective chain in 3.2 that gives you a kind of Royal Guard companion unit that grows as your cities grow. So that's this objective up here. So my current target is to reach a level 5 city. And so as I hit each target, that brigade will grow in strength and will actually change in class as well. It'll start as a base level unit like a spearman, and will upgrade as your cities continue to grow. So while we're doing this, the last city of Region that I haven't taken yet is the capital itself. So I'm going to start moving some troops into position to take that. So we're going to move those guys down here. Now, don't have many recruits left in this city, so we're actually going to push it a little bit further so I can generate some new units. Oh, I got a warning here about unconnected farms, so we're going to connect that up there. So that starts kind of, those connections work similarly to what you've seen before. Ah, there's the event I was waiting to show off. So, a rebel faction within Polizzi sees weapons is marching out in force. So, this is how the raiders work in 3.2. Basically, if you leave a city with a high enough rebellion for a long time, the citizens will take up arms against you. So we're going to jump over here. Let's see. There's a few extra units. You can see the raider units appear outside that come from the city. So all the raiders in 3.2, or as they're now known as rebels, all have a home, a specific place they've come to. So these are rebel hoplites of Polizzi. So like before, they are debuffed units compared to the base ones, and somewhat ragtag incomplete brigades. So the hoplites are only 8 of 50. Now, one of the things you also notice is now that they've left the city, they are blocking my territory. So you can see how the purple area around the city has shrunk down right to the borders. It'll actually expand back again as these units move out. So that's one of the new siege mechanics in 3.2 is, as I said, only one faction can control a piece of land at a time. So in addition to borders like I was showing up here, combat units also block enemy territory. So those guys there are blocking my farm. So I'm going to send out some units here. So now the way rebels work is sometimes they may immediately, depending on the situation, go to raiding or causing trouble in your empire. Other times, like these guys here, I believe, we'll go up and set up a camp. And those camps can continue to gather more raiders from other cities nearby. The likelihood of a rebellion is tied to that rebellion level, as I was showing you earlier, as well as to the presence of other rebels nearby. So if you leave a rebel fort for a long time, that tends to attract more rebels. Now that I open this up, one thing you will notice is the rebellion level is back down to 1, because when the rebellion happens and the rebel units leave the city, that does reset your current rebellion. Now I'm going to have to, I'm at risk of losing the city at the moment. So you can see the current maximum morale is minus 165 because the city has run out of food. So here now we're showing 0 of 16. I have insufficient food to feed the population and insufficient food to feed the garrison. One of the things we've tried to clarify in 3.2 is the order of food consumed. So the garrison gets first priority to food. So if you only have a little bit of food to feed the city, it'll go to the garrison first, which can maintain control of the city, but your population will be shrinking because it is unfed. So partly that's doing because they're still blocking that fishery. There we go. All right, so that's opened up again, so I'm at least getting a little bit of food in there. And those guys are building up a camp. So I'm going to send out some troops here from Locris. And I got to be careful to send those hoplites out. As soon as I do that, they're blocking my. Now that they've built their camp there, you can see the gray territory that's extended has cut off my fishery again. So I'm definitely not going to be able to let that remain like that. So we're going to send out those hoplites. Maybe bring these guys around to try to hold that quickly. We're going to need to take care of this fort before the city rebels, which is going to be tough. So overall rebellion of the city, so when it actually switches factions, is the same as it was before. So when the current morale hits to 0, there's a good chance that city could rebel at any time. So the pace that morale drops there does give you some time to, because it's not immediate, to take garrison troops out to deal with situations, and then before bringing them back in. So these troops, because they're still supplied from Terrania, can probably, if they can get there in time, hold that city for me. Oh, my troops are flanked. That's not good. So you can see the cutout of the territory here from these combat units. Units that are engaged in combat or locked in combat no longer block terrain. So if you're setting up a siege, you will need additional sieging units behind your anything that's engaged in combat. You can see how my unit's cutting into their territory as well. This provides a fairly organic way of cutting off terrain. So you can, a few people have asked about whether it's more difficult to surround cities in 3.2. But the trick is finding the choke points. So the narrow points between cities where it doesn't take as many units to cut it all off. Alright. Oh, we're cutting this close. Morale is to 0, so that city could rebel at any time. Those guys get there. These hoplites will have no trouble with the raiders, even though they're low on food themselves. There we go. So Polizzi is secured because those troops brought food with them. You can see my morale is starting to go back up again. Boost the recruitment because we need troops there. Finish off this battle here and take out the raider fort that's blocking my supply lines. Only one left, and we got 5 guys. There we go. And we need to take out this fort because while the fort is still there, it's still with its territory there, it's still cutting off my connections. Oh. Yeah, Brutii asking for some help. Ignore that for the moment. Nope, we have an enemy attack. Ships coming in. I'll give you a chance to show off. So you still have Naval Raids. We have been expanding some of the naval AI in 3.2, so you'll get some from other factions. These ones are pirates. Specifically, we have some Gallic pirates coming in. We got some troops nearby. So Medma here is one of my native cities. So it actually, so if you go to the morale, has a native hostility of plus 100 because it's no hostility with your native faction. So you'll find your native cities, and it's a good reason for colonization, can produce a lot more resources than captured enemy cities. This is one of the kind of historical details we were trying to capture in 3.2, is that even though you can occupy and control the territory, actually gaining resources from it is much harder and to maintain control than it is of your native cities. So we'll... Ooh, they got hoplites there too. We might need some further support. We're actually going to go in here. I'm going to build some... Yeah, we don't have any recruits in that city. Oh, that's the Brutii. Don't need to worry about them right now. So it doesn't come up in this city, but one of the features I'll just mention quickly is we've also added a new Liberate feature. So one of the things you have to concern yourselves a little bit about if you've got slaves in your farms is in keeping with the famous slave revolts of ancient Rome, the raiders can now liberate slaves, which will turn into a weak combat unit. You can expand their forces while they're in the middle of a raid. Alright, I am heavily outnumbered here. Hopefully finish off this cavalry quickly here. Bring these guys up to flank the other hoplites. It might have a chance. Because otherwise these spearmen, even compared to raider hoplites, which aren't as strong as regular ones, are definitely at a disadvantage. This is where use the tactical systems to your advantage to overpower stronger units with weaker ones. So there we go. So I got a flank, so their morale is dropping. 650. Combine that with the extra range support from these slingers, and I think I can actually pull this off. There we go. And we will capture those guys. Okay. That went well. So jump down here. Got a bit of morale problems still here in Fleet C. Because of that fort that was there, it's lost the connection to the fishery. So I'm going to reconnect that. So that will bring the, because that fishery is part of this territory, that allows trade from this territory to Polizzi. So you can now see, if I can click on that, you can see it's bringing in 27 food from Locris, which is enough to supply its civilian and also its unit consumption, the garrison there. Alright, we got some slaves. We'll put them in the fishery. And we'll take these guys out here. Okay. Well, that kind of gives you guys a quick run-up of the new territories, the new resource controls, and some of the other new mechanics in the game. Those pirate ships are fleeing now that I've taken out their units. So yeah, we hope you guys join us. We're moving into a beta shortly. And let us know what you think. And as always, you can email us, rob@longbowgames.com, or talk to us on Steam. Thanks for joining us.